An analyst should always begin to look at the first annotation, which is the oldest, because that shows him or her why the original offense was opened. Later annotations provide more details. The one below indicates that the offense was renamed. The other one indicates that the attack might be inaccurate due to the very low percentage of existing destinations, and this one indicates the small number of events generated was deemed worth a value of 2 out of 10. Other annotations may include the identification of specific attacks, based on the types and number of events. As I said, it's the oldest one that is the most crucial.
Ah, perfect. So, by looking at these annotations, which I suppose can change over time as new events are received, I can see an evolution of the offense, hence I can understand why everything is happening.
Exactly. There can be many annotations, and these can increase over time, as new events are being received and associated with the offense. Now, Julie, so far we have asked ourselves several questions to better understand what is going on in our IT environment based on the offenses generated by QRadar. The logical thing to follow is to address what to do next.
Yes, you're right. How can we know what to do next?
Well, the first thing we can do is use all the information we gathered to make an informed decision. The best way to gather information along the way is by using the offenses notes capability. These can be very helpful to track information that is collected during an investigation, just like we have done so far, trying to solve our questions. Plus, you can write down the actions to be taken. By displaying the notes, you can view all notes you have added for your investigation of the offense. Notice that you can add notes, but you cannot delete them.
And what actions can I take after determining the nature of an offense and the risk it represents?
There are different actions you can take. Let's look at them one by one. First, there's the follow-up. Use this action if you want to revisit the offense for further investigation. When selecting this, you can see a flag next to the offense. Then, if you want to prevent an offense from being displayed in the offense list, you can choose to hide it. After you hide an offense, the offense is no longer displayed in any list on the Offenses tab.
I see.
Use this with caution because QRadar still updates the offense, so alarming updates might remain hidden.
Right.
Another option is to protect an offense. There is a retention period, by default 30 days, after which QRadar deletes offenses. You can prevent offenses from being deleted by protecting them.
This could be useful for an ongoing investigation, right?
Correct. You can also choose to close an offense when you have resolved it, so that it can be removed.
Wait, but then, what's the difference between hiding and closing an offense? If I don't want to see it displayed, why not close it instead of hiding it?
That's an excellent question. When you close an offense, it will be removed completely from QRadar after the retention period. You should close offenses only after they have been fully resolved. Once an offense has been deleted, you cannot recover it. When you hide an offense, you can always restore it if needed. In addition, when performing a search, hidden offenses are included in the results.
Of course. But do I have to hide an offense whenever I'm investigating a different one?
No, you don't really have to hide any offenses. Think of the hiding action as a tool to temporarily declutter your console to make your current investigation more comfortable. Although offenses are set to inactivate automatically when new events are not received in 5 days, you are encouraged to close resolved offenses to avoid unnecessary items in your dashboard. For now, let's cancel this close offense activity. So far the actions I have shown you can be performed by a single analyst based on their individual investigation of an offense. However, you don't work alone, right?
No, I don't. There's a whole team of analysts here at the insurance company who will work to investigate potential offenses.
Exactly. And that is why I'm going to show you how to share your investigations with your colleagues. To do that, use the email action. With this feature, you can send a specific offense's summary information to someone else. This information includes the source and destination IP address, user, host or asset name, total number of sources and destinations, top 5 sources and destinations by magnitude, source and destination networks, total number of events, rules that added events or flows to the offense, a description of the rules, the offense ID, the top 5 categories, the start time of the offense, and the top 5 annotations. You can add a custom message to be included as well.
So this is a good way to keep everyone involved with the investigation of the offense informed and updated.
Exactly. The advantage of this feature is that you can email people who cannot access the QRadar console but still need to be informed.
But, can I send this email notification to more than one recipient at the same time?
Yes, you just have to separate the email addresses with a comma.
Great.
And finally, to delegate a user the investigation of an offense, you can use the assign action. From this list, you can select the users that have privileges to view offenses. Once assigned, the offense is displayed on the My Offenses page for that user. This will help you and your team organize more clearly who is responsible for which offenses.
Yes, this is very good. That way, I can view all incoming offenses, and with a combination of the email and assign actions, my analysts will be able to easily see which investigations should be their focus. At the same time, they will be updated to new information from their offenses.
Exactly. These two actions offer you the possibility of keeping an organized process when dealing with offenses. Now, remember when we looked at the source IP when investigating who triggered this offense? You mentioned that source IP was one of your DNS servers.
Yes, I remember.
Let's look at the rule wizard again. Take a closer look at this last test performed by the rule. It contains a building block that has a list of hosts defined in a DNS servers category.
Hold on. Could you explain to me what a building block is?
Sure. Think of it as a custom rule. It just does not contain actions or responses. Rules and building blocks perform tests against many variables, but building blocks do not need an associated action to them. They are useful because they store the result of more complex tests. They simplify the logic of some tests and can be used as part of a rule or other building block, which in turn can perform an action. Is that clear?
I think so. A rule can be comprised of different individual tests plus additional building blocks. When those tests and building blocks are matched by their corresponding variables, the rule is triggered along with its associated action.
You summed it up pretty well. Back to our analysis of the test. The building block then checks if the IP address of the event being tested belongs to the DNS servers list. And since it is preceded by a not logical function, then the test will be positive when the IP does not belong to the DNS servers. In other words, this rule will fire if all these tests are positive and if the IP is not a known DNS server.
You said that the building block has a list of DNS servers. How does it know which hosts are DNS servers?
That is configured manually as part of the initial setup of your QRadar installation.
I see. So this offense was triggered by events generated by our DNS server, when it should have ignored them because of this last test.
That is correct. So our analysis concludes that this offense can be closed because it should not have been fired in the first place. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree. Let's close the offense.
All right. We go to Actions and select Close. In the Reason for Closing drop-down menu, we select Non-Issue because this offense did not represent a real threat. We are now shown the offenses list, where we can notice the offense is no longer displayed.
I understand. However, since this was an offense that should have not been triggered in the first place, I would like to know how to prevent it from being triggered again in the future.
Right. You can add the DNS server to the building block I showed you in the rule. Doing so will prevent that test from testing positive in the rule. We'll leave the process of modifying rules and building blocks for another session, because we have now successfully analyzed an offense based on the events associated to it. I hope you find this information useful for your investigations, Julie.
Absolutely. James, thank you very much for walking me through this process of investigating offenses that are based on events.
My pleasure. Until next time.